I have another exciting video for you today. AWS has so many different certifications that you can possibly get. Today, I'm going to focus on the AWS Certified Developer Associate. Now, it's important before we dive in for you to understand where the Developer Associate certification falls within the AWS certification hierarchy. AWS certification hierarchy consists of Foundation, Associate, Professional, and Specialty. Now, the foundational level, as the name would suggest, is the beginner level for AWS certification. Associate, which is where the Developer Associate certification that I'm going to talk about today sits, is what I call intermediate. Next up from that is Professional. And Professional, as you can imagine, is advanced, and it's going to take a lot of effort to clear those exams and absorb all the knowledge you need at that level. And then Specialty, I look at that in terms of difficulty depending on your background. So I would say it's kind of like a professional level certification, but specifically in one area where you deep dive, which is the reason it's Specialty. But today's video is going to be great for you because I'm going to go over an overview of the Developer Associate. Then we're going to deep dive in the exam guide to discuss more about the exam topics that you can expect on the exam. And then I also have some bonus material that I'm going to sprinkle in that you're going to have to hang out for that's going to help you prepare for the certification if you choose to move forward. Now, if you're new here, I'm Greg, creator of Thoughtful Techie Cloud. I create videos on a weekly basis to help you navigate all things AWS Cloud and tech, empowering you with the knowledge you need to make decisions for your future. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. All right, so I have my trusty iPad here. Now, not to worry, just sit back and relax. I'm going to go over all the information you need, and I'm going to provide the links below so that you can review them after the fact. So on the AWS Certified Developer landing page, I'm going to talk to you briefly about what this certification is about. The AWS Developer Associate showcases your knowledge and understanding of core AWS services, uses, and basic architecture best practices and proficiency. Now listen closely here. In developing, deploying, and debugging cloud-based applications in AWS. Now, who should take this exam? Developer Associate is a great starting point on AWS certification path for individuals that have the following: experience working in a developer role with in-depth knowledge of at least one high-level programming language, experience in AWS technology, strong on-premises IT experience, and understanding of the mapping of those on-premises services as they relate to cloud. And any experiences working in other clouds is going to be very beneficial to you. Now, you might be asking yourself the question, hey, I'm not a developer, is this right for me? Now, I'm going to give you two scenarios where Developer Associate is helpful. Obviously, if you're a developer and you need to develop applications in AWS, this is going to be a no-brainer for you. But another scenario which you need to consider is, what if you personally aren't a developer, but your job has you interacting with and having discussions with developers? For example, I'm an AWS Solutions Architect. I'm not a developer by trade or by role. However, I'm having frequent conversations on a daily basis with developers. So I need to be able to speak the developer language. I need to know how applications are constructed, what AWS services are best to build the architecture to support those developers and the applications that they need to do in terms of the testing, the deployment, the continuous integration, and the continuous development, and so on and so forth. And that's where the AWS Developer Associate certification really prepares you for and helps you excel in that area. Now, there's a couple of other important details you need to know. The exam itself is 130 minutes. The cost is $150 US, and the format is 65 questions. I'll go into a little bit more detail about how those questions are broken out, and I'll do that in the exam guide coming up. Now, all you got to do to earn this certification is to pass the Developer Associate exam. And the secret to doing that is preparation. The better prepared you are, the more likely you're going to experience a favorable outcome. So let's jump over right now directly and go deep dive on this Developer Associate exam guide. Now, what I like about the exam guide is it really goes into depth. It gives you kind of like the map of the certification, the domains, the task, target candidate. Like, you really got to check this out in its entirety. But I'm just going to highlight some of the information that I think it's important for you to know right now. Now, I mentioned earlier that there are 65 questions on this exam. There are two flavors of questions. You have multiple choice, which is simply picking one correct answer out of the answer choices. And then you have multiple response, which is to pick two or more responses out of the selections you have available. Now, while there are 65 questions, believe it or not, 15 of those 65 questions are unscored that do not count against your score if you were to get them wrong. Here's the trick though. You never know which ones those 15 questions are, so you got to answer all 65 questions. The exam guide here goes a little bit deeper into what this certification validates in terms of the candidate's ability. So we're going to look at the following task. Be able to develop and optimize applications on AWS, package and deploy by using continuous integration and continuous delivery. Those are the CI/CD workflows. Being able to secure application code and data, and then identify and resolve application issues. Now, before I forget, let's talk about the exam results regarding the score. Now, the score report is a scaled score. Your score can range from 100 to 1,000. Now, if you get a 100 on this thing, it's not like the same 100 that you used to get in elementary school. 100 on this is not good because 1,000 is the best score. Now, your minimum passing score to be able to clear the developer associate is a 720. So if you can clear this with a 720, guess what? You can celebrate. What you really want to focus on in the content outline in the exam guide are what are called the domains. Now, the domains are basically what's going to be on the exam in terms of the categories, and then up under each domain, there will be several tasks. Now, there are going to be 4 domains. Domain 1 is going to be development with AWS services. 32% of all scored content under this domain will be representative on your questions. Domain 2 is going to cover security. 26% of the content that is tested on you on this exam will be in regards to security. Domain 3 is in regards to deployment. 24% of the exam will be deployment related questions. And then domain 4 is troubleshooting and optimization, which includes 18% of the scored content. Now, if I go back up to domain 1 here, development with AWS services, that is the largest amount in terms of weighting, 32%, roughly 1/3% of the entire test will be development on AWS services. So if there's any domain that you can't afford to not have a good grasp on, that would definitely be development with AWS services. Now, I don't want to bore you to tears in this video and go over all the task statements. You definitely need to review these offline, but right now I'm just going to go with domain 1, the development in AWS services, and I'm going to pick one task statement just to kind of go over some of the things into the depth that you can be expected to be tested on here. So task statement 1 for the development with AWS services, you'll need knowledge of architectural patterns. This includes event-driven, microservices, monolithic architectures, as well as orchestration and fan-out architecture patterns. You'll need to know the differences between stateful and stateless architectures, differences between tightly coupled and loosely coupled components in an architecture, understand fault tolerance design patterns. For example, retries with exponential backoff and jitter, dead letter queues, and know the differences between synchronous and asynchronous patterns. Now, if you don't know what any of that stuff means, don't get nervous because I got something that can help you out. Now, as I promised, after I provided that overview of the Developer Associate Certification, I was going to leave you with something that can help you out big time. It's called the Exam Prep Course for AWS Certified Developer. This is available on Skill Builder. The link is in the description right now. Now, this is a free exam prep video course, which is about 4.5 hours of content. It's going to help you get to know the exam, understand the exam style questions. It goes over all 4 domains with practice questions, covers how to register for the exam, and it's a really great training course to add to your study plan. If you have any questions about anything we talked about here today, Go ahead and drop those in the comments below. I'd love to respond to you. And if you like this video, check this video out as well. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.